This is my all-time favorite chart in Prickly Pear's Poppin' Pack. It's Ruby the 13 by I2G Alex, and it's in the 13's DLC. Fun fact, this was originally rated a 12 pre-release. It is definitely not a 12. But something I really like about this chart, and the reason I love it so much, is that this chart has 0 movement tech in it. So there's no crossovers, no brackets, no side switches, and then not even any foot switches. So this chart is just like purely foot speed, burst control, and like rhythms. So I promise the reason I like this chart is not because I'm bad at crossovers and like bad at brackets and stuff like that, but I do feel like there needs to be more charts in all skill ranges that either like do nothing like Ruby does, or charts that should just be completely unapologetic about the tech that it exercises. So like everything that we play in this game is grounded in playing rhythms. And you need to have good timing to execute tech with good judgments. So charts that do nothing, I feel like, are really good for focusing on fundamentals, where timing is everything. Other tech that you do on top of that is just added complexity, but it's ultimately grounded in fundamentals. So brackets, right? Like, let's say you want to hit brackets, but you want to have good timing on the brackets as well. Like, a bracket is really just a foot rotation so you can hit 2 panels at the same time, but if you don't have good timing or fundamentals hitting a single panel, you're not going to be able to get good timing hitting brackets. And the same kind of goes for crossovers. Like, if you don't have good timing or rhythm fundamentals, like doing rhythms that just have you facing forward, you have no chance of having good timing when rotating your body around, right? So that's how I feel about charts that do nothing. It's really important to have charts that do nothing. And then also for charts that are unapologetic about the tech that it exercises, I think that's really good for dialing in on specific things and just getting good at that thing. So charts like Horizon, which is the 14's DLC, just has like relentless crossovers and basically nothing else, I mean, outside of the intro. Ruby right now is really just background noise while I talk. But yeah, like Horizon is really good at focusing in on crossovers. Boss Rush is really good at training you on brackets. I really like those two charts as examples specifically because you're trying to get good at tech. So it's good that has charts. It's good that there are charts that focus on those things. And don't get me wrong, like I love charts with diverse tech. Like I love Mad Science. I love Quality Control. I love Lick It. Like charts that like, you know, have you going from one piece of tech to another, or like they're combining into like foot switch brackets and stuff like that. But having that much tech thrown at you can be really overwhelming, and it's not necessarily always the best training tool, you know? It's like that's like AP tech, you know what I mean? And so yeah, what I like about Ruby is that it does nothing. I could give this chart to someone who like is maybe a dance game player but unfamiliar with like modern ITG tech, and they would have 0 questions on what to do. This chart is super straightforward, right? So as far as my advice on how to execute this song, I have a few things kind of like in the order of importance that I feel. Firstly is that if doing anything, any bursts of any length at 240 BPM is not approachable to you at all, like take some time to build up your BPM, find a different chart, find a different song, start at a BPM that feels like foot speed to you, and take the time to slowly bring that up. Alternatively, you can also just take this chart and rate mod it down until you should rate mod it down to a BPM where it's like comfortable for you, and then bump it up a little higher from there, so it's just like slightly uncomfortable, and work up. From there on, if foot speed is becoming more approachable for you but the stamina portion is not, put yourself in a position mentally where you're going to try to finish the chart no matter what, because foot speed is kind of like sprinting. It puts your body under a lot of fatigue. It's a very different kind of stress from playing, like if you're a stamina player listening to this, like the stress that your body endures playing foot speed is very different from like the slow burn that you get from playing long stamina. You should try your best to push through that stress and not walk off, like no matter how intense it is. I mean, you know your limits, right? So don't do anything that's like unhealthy or you know is dangerous. But as you start to do that, it should get better over time. The more times you put your body through that stress, but also try to push through it, is how you get better. Because otherwise, if you put your body through stress, but then walk off, and then you keep doing that, you're just training your body to walk off the pad anytime it ends up in like a state of fatigue. So definitely try to finish the song as much as you can. I think once you have the foot speed and the stamina, I think the rhythmic demands in this are still going to be really intense. So Ruby has a lot of short and broken bursts. Again, rate modding can be really useful, or finding other charts with broken rhythms can be really useful. So the one that comes to mind for me is there's a chart for Thinking of You, which is a 13. The song is by Goreshit. That chart comes to mind. It's in one of the speedcore packs, I forget which ones. But in this case, when you rate mod down, it's not for building foot speed anymore, because you should have the foot speed established by now. It's more about foot speed control, so you should still be really going for, you know, masterfuls or fantastics at this point. You could also do things like slow down the song, listen to the song on assist tick. I think most importantly to know though is that because there's a lot of stop and go, it's not like playing stamina where you can just kind of start a stream and just let the momentum roll and try to zone off. You really have to know where all these stops and starts are. Any kind of hesitation is bad, so anything you can do to prepare yourself and be confident to know what you're going to play ahead of time is going to be really important. After all of that stuff is improved, all of your fundamentals are there, and you're more confident about the song. Oh man, how many times am I going to play this song? 6-minute VOD. This is probably like the third or fourth time I'm playing this. After all the fundamentals are improved, it should all come together. Really just focus on the groove of the song, because like, dude, this song's a jam. I was very into the song. Yo, shoutouts to Dot Phase for playing this BMS chart on his stream, because this is where I heard the song at first, and I knew there should have been a chart for it, but because man, like this song is really good. Like I was listening to this at work all the time. But yeah, like, dude, the song is super groovy. Whenever people are playing foot speed and bursty stuff, it's really easy to start things early and rush through it. So just kind of like, the song is really laid back. Just try to lay back with it. Like, I know 240 bursts are fast, but it's still grounded in this really like groovy like jam of the song, right? So just dial it back, just let it rock. That's my advice for Ruby. Does anybody else have issues with this chart beyond just like the foot speed? I feel like I actually get tripped on the chart mostly on flams or like the grace notes more than anything else. And I'm also really bad at some of the rhythms that come after each burst. Oh, things like this double tap are probably important to know. You want to definitely make sure you're not trying to like accidentally play this as a foot switch because you kind of tried to let your momentum roll or something. Definitely know that things like this are coming up, but seeing this kind of pattern though in this kind of chart, when I've already told you that there's no foot switches, is a lot easier to interpret as long as you've studied that ahead of time. Yeah, another double tap here for those double basses. Yeah, I'm the kind of person that would like hit this burst and then mess up these. That's who I am as a player. There's also, this is really hard. I get tripped up by this all the time. It reminds me kind of the rhythms in Welcome to the Symphosonia, except instead of a 3-note 30-second burst, it's a 5-note 30-second burst into a 24th. Yeah, I think that's all the advice I have for this chart. I don't know if this is useful for anybody, just because it's like pretty there's definitely a lot of fundamentals and skill that needs to be built up before this chart is more approachable. But man, like when you get to that point, this chart is a lot of fun to play. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching still. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.